Audio Jungle.
How Rakesh Jhunjhunwala became the best investor in India. Looking for motivation to kickstart your trading journey? Today seems to be your lucky day. Be sure to stick throughout the video, since today we'll be discovering the mega success story of the late Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, how his techniques made him the best investor in India, and how one day we could all reach his level of timing the market. Just like there's Warren Buffett in the United States, there also used to be a big bull of Dalal Street who was famous for his risk appetite and nearly perfectly timed trades in the Indian stock market. Starting trading barely from Rs 5,000 at the age of 26, right after Mr. Jhunjhunwala completed his chartered accounting certification, to managing 50,000 crore of assets and investments at the age of 62, Mr. Rakesh has been able to identify opportunities and taken advantage of them while the world was bearing immense volatility and losses during the pandemic. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, unfortunately, almost a month after celebrating his 62nd birthday on the 14th of August 2022, got into a cardiac arrest and left the world too early, along with his profound experience and passion for the market behind him. May Mr. Rakesh's soul rest in peace. Unlike most usual kids at the age of 10 to 11 years who would be more concerned when Tom and Jerry or Chota Bheem would be coming on television, Mr. Rakesh, on the other hand, got himself into reading newspapers and had built an interest in financial news. How did it happen? Mr. Rakesh was born into a Marwadi family, having Rajasthani roots in 1960. His father was an income tax officer by profession. Back when Mr. Rakesh used to be young and sharp, his father used to have his friends gather around in his home and talk about how big traders used to file huge amounts of income tax. They used to gossip about the market, what stock was running the trend, which stock has the potential to grow exponentially, etc. These conversations created a spark inside Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's brain, and he too was convinced there was something fancy about these stocks, which was always the topic of conversation of his father and his friends. Hence, just like any other kid, he also showed signs of interest and curiosity in learning more about stocks, the market, and how people get rich buying and selling them. Eventually, his father taught him the basics, that is, the fundamental terms of stocks an 11-year-old could easily interpret, and advised him to read the financial news sections of newspapers. He also taught him to notice how news published in the newspaper regarding a stock directly affects the price of that same stock. Now, as time passed, the 10-year-old Mr. Rakesh had turned 19 and was much better at analyzing stocks and understanding how stocks behave in a bullish or bearish market. Cut 2, he went to his dad and showed that he was ready to start investing. But to his surprise, his dad gave him a very rational reason and advised him to not invest into the market at such an early age. He said, "You should wait until you're graduated, until you're independent and making your own money." He also refused to lend Mr. Rakesh any money and also told him to never borrow it from his father or his own friends either. Now, these are straight up genuine pieces of advice from which all of us can learn some valuable lessons and see how these lessons helped Mr. Rakesh become the best investor in India. Number 1. Get into the veins of the market first. Make yourself well aware of the big blue chip stocks of the market and sort out high volatility stocks. Basically, just do your homework really well. Number 2. In Mr. Rakesh's case, if he had started investing during his degree, he would end up staking his freedom as he didn't have any source of money other than his pocket money, just like many other college students. Long story short, only take risks when you're capable enough to bear the losses. Everything was going smoothly. Mr. Rakesh had turned 26. It was 1986 when he graduated from Sydenham College with majors in commerce. He later enrolled himself in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and also made his first investment in the stock market with merely 5,000 rupees. At the time, the Sensex used to be at 150 points. A year later, Mr. Rakesh had considerably grown his investments. At this point, he saw some amazing potential in Tata Tea, which was trading around 43 rupees at the time. He took a loan of 2.5 lakh from a client of his brother and guaranteed them 18% returns. He bought 5,000 shares of that single stock and barely had to wait 3 months to see his investment grow threefold as the share rose to 143 rupees. Straight away, Mr. Rakesh got really lucky. He saw a 332% profit. What was the secret? Mr. Rakesh has many times revealed in many interviews, and this will be our number one takeaway from this video and one of many strategies of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Always buy right and hold tight, at least long enough until your desired returns are achieved. Another strategy that was noticed was that Mr. Rakesh would always counter the decision-making with a logical instinct. Back when the 1989 budget was about to be announced, the market had seen a sudden drop since everyone had no high hopes from the budget. Mr. Madhu Dhanvate was the finance minister at the time. Since Mr. Madhu Dhanvate had been the Minister of Railways, the investors were sure that the budget would be focused on the social side rather than the industrial side. Mr. Rakesh at the time had done his homework really well. He knew VP Singh, who was the Prime Minister at the time, was a Thakur and a businessman. Hence, he knew the budget would never leave the industrial sector behind. He invested considerable money into the market when everyone else was pulling their money out. In the end, when the budget was announced and 6 months later, the very thing happened that Mr. Rakesh believed would happen. The industrial sector grew and so did Mr. Rakesh's portfolio, and companies reported higher profits and higher dividends. And hence, Mr. Rakesh's net worth had also grown from 2.5 crore to 40 crores. Secret number 2. Never mix your emotions with your investments. Mr. Rakesh set a prime example of his own quote when he bought Titan Company's shares. By 2002 to 2003, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala had already stepped deep into the league of having crores of net worth. Around the same time, a new stock of the Tata Group, that is the Titan Company, which used to manufacture watches and jewelries, had come to the attention of Mr. Rakesh. At the time, the Titan stock was trading at about 2 to 3 rupees. Mr. Rakesh had already built his trust in the leadership of the Tata Group with his previous successful trades, and this time too, he was super confident with his research on the company's fundamentals. Hence, during the timeline of 2002 to 2003, he invested over 8 crore into Titan, making up to 5% of the equity of the company. Now, as time passed, the per stock price had gone from 2 rupees to 80 rupees. In other words, his 8 crore had already grown to 320 crore. Now, just a few days later, the stock dropped. Titan fell to 30 rupees, a big 55% fall. At this point, a newbie investor would start panicking and would even probably sell his stake thinking the stock might go down further. But for someone like Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who always makes decisions based on fundamental analysis, the stock was worth much more than those 30 rupees so held tight over his emotions. Long story short, at this point in 2022, the Titan stock has grown to 2,600 rupees, being almost 1/3 of the portfolio of the big bull and probably the key stock behind his success. So never let your emotions control your decisions. Only trust your research and knowledge. Takeaway number 3. The only smart way to handle your investments is under a strategic plan backed with awareness of the market. Just like I've proved it earlier, Mr. Rakesh has been seen only making logical decisions when it came to investing. Similarly, it's not necessary to stay bullish when it comes to investing. In fact, Mr. Rakesh himself admits how he made 30 to 40 crore during the early 90s short-selling stocks when the Harshad Mehta scam was at its peak turbulence. It was not like Mr. Rakesh didn't like the insane growth of the market, but he was being realistic. This way you can keep a castle of sand stand firm for a much longer time. Here's what he said in an interview when someone asked if Mr. Rakesh had ever shorted stocks. "I made the most money in life by selling shares, that is through shorting and selling his own stake in stocks. In those years of the Harshad Mehta scam, everything was highly overvalued. I made at least 30 to 35 crore shorting stock as they had to drop." A fund from State Bank of India at the time had net value of assets of 52 rupees but was trading at 160 rupees. The same day Mr. Rakesh shorted the stock and to his surprise it went further higher to 240 rupees. The rise was temporary, but the fall of prices was guaranteed, since the intrinsic value had a great difference from the trading price. And soon enough, the market had to witness a decline, which is exactly what happened, and Mr. Jhunjhunwala's decision to short sell stocks came to be true. Takeaway number 4. Mr. Jhunjhunwala's key reason to be successful is staying calm and having patience. From start to end, every single big trade of Jhunjhunwala dissipates the element of patience, the element of not letting the market affect your strategy. Over time, the Indian stock market has produced many multi-bagger stocks that have easily given tenfolds of results since the past 15-20 years, including Tata Consumer Products, previously known as Tata Tea, Sesagoa, now Vedanta, Star Health, and the all-time famous and Mr. Rakesh's favorite, the Titan Company. Just to let you know, these stocks were only just a glimpse from Mr. Rakesh's portfolio. The Indian stock market has much greater potential and many opportunities yet to be discovered by new investors. For now, this was a glimpse of how Mr. Rakesh came to become the best investor in India and how we all can pick a thing or two from his mindset as well. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video on Mr. Rakesh's portfolio or cover his complete biography first. I'll be looking forward to your comments. Until then, keep subscribed for more exciting stocks-related content, so one day you could make a fortune as well.